He lifted the trophy, smiled for the cameras, and then said something that stopped the entire stadium cold. This wasn't about ranking points. This wasn't about revenge. This was about a 1-year-old girl who had no idea her birthday gift just shook the tennis world. Because on a humid night in Brisbane, Daniil Medvedev didn't just win a title. He delivered what might be the most emotional victory of his entire career. And the twist? The people he dedicated it to weren't even in the stadium. Before we break down the match, the message, and the moment that melted fans worldwide, here's the real reason this story matters. This win wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Not now. And definitely not for this reason. Daniil Medvedev arrived in Brisbane with something to prove, but also something weighing heavily on his heart. The former world number one had endured a turbulent stretch by his own elite standards. Questions were swirling. Was his peak behind him? Could he still dominate without grinding himself into exhaustion? And most importantly, could he balance being a present father while chasing trophies across the globe? The Brisbane International was supposed to be a warm-up, an ATP Brisbane Amar, a tune-up event. Something players often breeze through emotionally. But for Medvedev, it became something else entirely. Because while he was fighting through matches on hard courts in Australia, his family was 23 hours away, celebrating a milestone he would never get back. His younger daughter, Victoria, lovingly called Vika, was turning one. That reality followed him onto every court. By the time the final rolled around, Medvedev wasn't just playing Brandon Nakashima. He was playing time, distance, guilt, and love, all wrapped into one relentless motivation. From the opening games of the final, something felt different. Medvedev wasn't frantic. He wasn't overhitting. He wasn't arguing with himself. He was locked in, calm, surgical. The kind of focus that doesn't come from pressure, but from clarity. Nakashima is no pushover. Clean ball striker, dangerous rhythm player. But Medvedev dismantled him piece by piece. A 6-2 first set that barely lasted long enough for the crowd to settle in. Every return came back deeper. Every rally tilted slowly, but inevitably in Medvedev's favor. And yet, the second set told a different story. As Nakashima tightened up his game and pushed the match toward a tiebreak, you could see the stakes rising. This wasn't about dominance anymore. This was about resolve, about whether Medvedev would let the moment slip or claim it fully. What happened next was pure Medvedev. In the tiebreak, he didn't blink, not once. He surged ahead, point after point, until the scoreboard read 7-1. The match was over. The title was his 22nd career singles trophy, the Brisbane title he had narrowly missed back in 2019. But the real moment was still coming. As the applause echoed around the stadium, Medvedev stepped up to the microphone. And instead of talking about tactics or confidence or momentum heading into the Australian Open, he went somewhere else entirely. He went home. He spoke about the distance, about the 23-hour journey, about how traveling with 2 young children isn't easy, about how they plan to come together, but life had other ideas. And then he said it. He dedicated the win to his daughter's first birthday. In that instant, the trophy stopped being silverware. It became a symbol, a promise kept, a sacrifice justified. And somewhere far away, watching it all unfold through a screen, Daniil Medvedev's wife, Daria, felt what millions of fans felt in that moment. Something deeply human. Not long after the ceremony, Daria took to Instagram stories. She posted a video of her husband's speech. No flashy graphics, no long caption, just raw emotion wrapped in a few words that said everything. Vika got quite an amazing present for her first birthday. Dad won her a trophy. That single sentence traveled faster than any highlight clip, because it wasn't about tennis. It was about love, about family, about a man who has spent years being labeled cold, robotic, sarcastic, suddenly revealing the softest part of himself. This is the side of Medvedev fans don't always see. The competitor who thrives on chaos, the strategist who frustrates opponents, the champion who once climbed to world number one by sheer force of intellect and endurance. But behind all that is a father navigating a life split between airports and bedtime stories. And that balance is harder than any five-set match. Medvedev has never pretended this life is easy. He's openly talked about the toll of travel, the loneliness of hotel rooms, the guilt that creeps in when milestones are missed. But Brisbane felt like a moment where everything aligned: pain, purpose, and performance. This wasn't just a comeback win. It was a reminder that motivation evolves. The Medvedev who won the US Open in 2021 was fueled by proving people wrong. The Medvedev who conquered Brisbane in 2026 was fueled by proving something right, that you can still chase greatness without losing yourself along the way. And here's where the story gets even deeper, because Brisbane wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. Medvedev made a choice. He chose to play the tournament even knowing it meant missing his daughter's birthday. That decision wasn't easy. It was debated, weighed, reconsidered, and ultimately committed to. That's the unseen pressure elite athletes face. Every decision costs something. Every win comes with a trade-off. By lifting that trophy, Medvedev turned a potential regret into a legacy moment. Not because his daughter will remember it, she won't, but because one day she'll see it. She'll hear the speech. She'll read the caption. She'll understand what her father was fighting for. And fans felt that. Social media erupted, not with debates about forehands or rankings, but with messages of respect. Parents related. Longtime critics softened. Even neutral fans paused and smiled. Because no matter where you stand on Medvedev as a player, this moment transcended tennis. It showed growth. It showed perspective. And it showed that the fire still burns, just differently now. This Brisbane win also quietly sent a message to the rest of the tour. Medvedev isn't done. Not even close. The hunger is still there, sharpened by responsibility rather than ego. As the Australian Open looms, this victory could be the spark that ignites something bigger. Confidence restored, rhythm found, purpose clarified. But even if Brisbane remains the highlight, it will already mean more than most titles ever could, because trophies gather dust. Moments like this don't. So here's the question that matters, and I want you to answer it in the comments. Do moments like this, family-driven victories, change the way you see a player's legacy? Or should tennis always be judged purely by results? Let's talk about it. And if you want stories that go beyond the scoreboard, that capture the human side of tennis the highlights can't show, you already know where to be. This is TennisZap, where tennis isn't just played, it's felt.